Hey guys, how's it going? It's your boy Mr. Oh My Lewis back at you with another video. Oh yes, and today we're going to be talking about how to leverage urgency. Alright, so if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, make sure you subscribe. If you haven't hit the notification icon, make sure you hit that notification icon so that you're notified every time I upload a new video, which I'm trying to do every single day. And of course, hit that like button for me. Hit that like button for me just because I'm asking you to. And if not, you can wait until the end of the video. And if you like this video, make sure you don't click off the video without hitting that like button first. Anyway, let's go ahead and get started. So how do you actually leverage urgency? So what I'm trying to say here is, I don't know if you've ever had this. I'm pretty sure you have. Perhaps in school or perhaps at work, you're given a project, right? You're given a task. You're given some sort of a job to do. And you have a certain deadline, so it must be done before this specific date, right? Let's just say, I don't know, randomly, let's just say June 30th. So you have until June 30th to finish that one task. So you look at the task and you're like, oh, it looks pretty simple, like whatever, and right now maybe it's the beginning of the month, right? It's like June 1st, and you're looking at June 30. You're like, oh, it's 30 days, who cares? It's what the hell, right? I can probably do that thing in one day, right? And perhaps you can, but whoever gave you this task obviously doesn't know what you're capable of. So they give you a whole month to do it, just to allow a lot of time, or who knows, maybe you have other things to do as well, and so you just may not have enough time to devote one full day to that project. So that's why they give you 30 days. That way you're able to scatter out the entire project throughout the 30 days, right? But who knows, maybe they just don't know, and so they're just giving you those 30 days because they're being nice with you, or they believe they're underestimating the fact that you can do this in one full day, right? But anyway, so you're giving 30 days, right? And you postpone it and you say, you know what, I'll do it maybe like in the last week, because I don't really need that much time, right? So you postpone, you're doing other things, you're living your life, everything's great, whatever, right? And then that last week comes and you're like, oh shit, like this is something that has to be done, right? And so you look at it, you're like, all right, so you start to look at the project, you start to give it a better look, and you're like, okay, that looks all right, that looks pretty good. And so you look at it, right? And you're like, I think I can do this maybe like maybe the last 2-3 days, that I have left. I'll just do that, right? So then you leave it for those last 3 days, and then those last 3 days come, and you're looking at it, you're like, oh man, this project, this job, man, it fucking sucks, like I don't even want to do it. You know what? Does it even have to be that good? Probably not. I could probably make something decent within a few hours and shit. So you leave it till the last day, right? Now the last day hits, right? You have to submit this maybe the day before. I don't know, depending on how it works. Maybe you have to deliver it on June 30th, but maybe till the end of the day. So then you have those couple of hours, before you have to, submit that work or that job. Or perhaps you have to submit it right on the day, as the first thing you had to submit it early in the morning. So then you're gonna have to place this scenario on the day before, the 29th. So let's just say you have a couple of hours left, to work on this project, and you're looking and you're like, oh shit, okay, now I gotta work on this. So then you just go full out, right? You fully concentrate, you ignore everything. You're like, all right, I gotta get this shit done right now. Like there is just no other choice right now. I gotta do it. There's no time to procrastinate anymore. There's no time to postpone. This is it. Like, and so you only have a limited amount of hours now left to get this project, this job done. And so you just put in all the work. You have this urgency, and that's what I'm trying to teach you in this video, how to leverage that urgency that you feel at that moment when you're about to submit your work. That's exactly the feeling that I want you to focus on for this video. So really tap into that. I'm pretty sure you've experienced it. If not, then perhaps through this scenario that I was painting out for you, I hope you're able to picture this in your mind and be able to visualize it for yourself and actually experience it and sort of feel how it would feel once you're in that place. And so here's the thing, right? A lot of us don't like to create this urgency for ourselves, before the fact, before we have this external pressure. Meaning in this case, somebody else gave you that job, somebody, maybe your teacher or maybe your boss, depending on where this actually happened, but there's always somebody externally who's giving you this pressure, who's giving you the deadline. They're telling you like, hey, you know what, you got to submit this on this day, all right, no later, no earlier than that. And so you have somebody who's pressuring you from the external world, and of course that's going to happen to all of us at some point. But what if you can create that urgency for yourself? What if you could just tell yourself, hey, you know what? I'm going to give myself until this specific date, right? And who knows, maybe you make the time frame a little bit, even a little bit shorter, because you actually know yourself. You know what you're capable of. And so by you setting up that deadline, you choosing, okay, I'm gonna do this. Let's just say I'm gonna give myself 2-3 days to finish this, and it's a lot of work, but you're giving yourself 3 days because you understand that once you place some urgency in your mind, your mind is just gonna focus. It's gonna get in there. It's gonna get the job done, no matter what. Even if you're feeling tired, even if you're feeling a little bit stressed, maybe you have some pain, you have some struggle going on in your life. Some stuff isn't right. There's a couple of distractions in your life. You know that when the time comes, you'll be able to turn all that off and really focus and concentrate on the work that has to be done, before that deadline arrives. And so that's really what I'm trying to tell you here. So what if you could? Well, the thing is that you can. If you really wanted to, you can set those deadlines for yourself. You don't have to wait until your boss, until your teacher, your friend, or whoever is giving you a deadline. You don't have to wait until they give you a deadline. And sure, maybe you're one of those people who doesn't work well with deadlines and stuff like that. And let me tell you something. If you don't like working with deadlines, that means that you work in a very random way, and that's not good. If you're trying to pursue a journey, if you're trying to set goals for yourself, and you're trying to really hit those goals, and in a specific time frame, then you must put yourself deadlines. I understand some people don't want to put deadlines because they want to be free. They want to have that freedom to do whatever it is that they want with their time and finish things whenever it is that they feel like finishing them. But that's very random. That's not very calibrated. That's not very strategic. If you're very random, especially when you know that you're capable and you have the potential to finish certain things faster than you actually are doing, and that's just very that's just very off-putting to your mindset, because once your mindset realizes that you're doing stuff like that, like it'll tell you once in a while, like, hey, you know what, you can always take a full month to do that one thing, right? And so you never want to allow yourself to do that if you know that you're capable of doing that same job in, let's just say, a week, or who knows, maybe 2-3 days. And so you always want to be aware of this. And the thing is that from this moment on, you want to start actually implementing your own deadlines and your own sense of urgency. So what I mean by this, so whatever your purpose is, let's go back to our classic example that I always use in this channel, which is becoming a writer. So you want to become a writer. So perhaps as a writer, you have a full month, right? So in this month, let's just say maybe you don't have a strategy yet, so you're going to implement a strategy, or who knows, maybe you have a strategy, and that strategy consists of you hitting some sort of doing something, hitting a goal every single day and hitting a goal every single week, and something along those lines, right? Well, how about this? How about you make a little bit of a shift and you say, okay, you know what, the one thing that I want done by the end of the week, how about we try to compress that into 3 days? Let's just say we devote 3 days to that one task that normally takes us 1 week. Let's just devote 3 days and let's see what happens. And then maybe you want to add on another task that demands for the rest of the week, maybe those 4 days. Maybe you add a task that maybe took you maybe 2 weeks, you compress it into 4 days. And so now the urgency is really hard, because now there's 2 jobs that normally took 2 weeks to accomplish. Well, one normally took 1 week and the other one took normally 2 weeks. You're compressing both into 1 week. And so now there's a huge sense of urgency now. So who knows, maybe it takes you about a week, to write a a research article on some topic, and maybe it takes you 2 weeks to write an essay about something, right? And so now you have to write that essay in 4 days, and you have to write that research paper in 3 days. And who knows, maybe you're gonna have to do your research a whole lot more intensively, a lot more focused now, a lot more hard. You're gonna have to go a little bit harder now. You have to go a little bit you're just gonna have to put in more time, more effort, and there's gonna be more urgency. And here's the thing. So now that you know that it's possible, now that you have a general idea of how you're supposed to do it, the final question is, why would you want to do something like this, right? Why would you want to set deadlines? Because deadlines are very it can become stressful at times, especially if right now, you've been given deadlines, and all the deadlines that you've been given, they've been given by somebody else out there. And so for the most part, those are usually not the most appealing deadlines, because somebody else is giving them to you. Maybe you have them for school, college, university, work, and these deadlines, and they're given to you by maybe those things aren't your passion. Maybe you're going to college right now and you're doing something, but it's not really your passion. You're just kind of doing it just because you're going with the flow, or somebody told you that it would be a good idea to go to college, or it just seems like the right thing to do. And so you're just going to college and you're taking all these classes, and you're giving deadlines and stuff, and the deadlines are kind of dreadful because you don't even want to do the work to begin with. So then by them sending you a deadline, it's like they're forcing you to finish something and to do something by a certain date. Or maybe at work you don't like your job, and so you're giving a deadline for your job to do something, and you're like, this is some bullshit, whatever, I'm just doing it just to make some money. But deep down, there's no passion behind your job, and then you're giving the deadline, so that makes it even worse. Now you're like, oh fuck, now I have a specific day, I have to turn this shit in and everything, and it's just dreadful, it's horrible, whatever, right? So you may have these experiences. Maybe you don't, and if you don't, this might be a little bit easier for you to actually go ahead and to get started, because you don't have all these past experiences with these things. But if you do, it's still possible. You're just gonna have to put in a little bit more work, because you're gonna have to every time you put a deadline for yourself, you might get reminded of those experiences, and then you might have to just fight that, little by little. But eventually, the more you do it, the more you'll get used to it, and then the more comfortable you'll get, and then the more you'll enjoy actually having deadlines because of that sense of urgency. But let's just say you've never done it. You never done a proper deadline. You never experienced one, or you've never done one for yourself. So why would you want to make a deadline for yourself? Well, here's the thing. Here's the simple truth. And I actually made a video about this earlier on my channel, which was contemplating the idea of death. And so in this situation, I want you to contemplate the idea of death as well, because here's the thing, we're all gonna die. And we don't know when. We don't know how much time we have left in this world. And so the thing is that you can't be postponing things in your life that you really want to do. Those things that you love, those things that you have a passion for, those things that make your heartbeat go up, those things that make you excited, that wake you up every single day and you wish you could be doing every single day. Those things, you don't want to postpone them. You don't want to be procrastinating on them. You don't want to tell yourself that, hey, you know what, I'll do it another day, I'll do it next week, I'll do it in a month, I'll do it in a year. You don't want to be telling yourself to do those things, the things that you don't have a passion for, the things that you hate and you have no interest in, whatever. Postpone those things, put them aside, do whatever the fuck you want with those things. But when it comes to the things that you love, that you really genuinely enjoy, those things you don't want to ignore. And the only way to not ignore them is to have that discipline, to have the discipline to actually go out there and actually execute on those things. And the only way to do that is really to put yourself a deadline. Tell yourself, hey, you know what? I'm gonna go, I want to be a writer for this case. I want to be a writer, and I want to go write, right? I want to become the best writer ever. I want to write a book. So then you have to start practicing on your writing. So make sure you put some deadlines. Okay, I gotta get this specific type of writing by this date, and make sure you put some urgency. Make sure you put some pressure on yourself. So never make it comfortable. Never make it comfortable. Even if the deadline comes and you still weren't able to complete the task fully, at least you had that urgency. At least you did everything that you could to make sure that was possible. And who knows, And if it wasn't possible, try it again, and eventually I promise you're gonna hit that deadline. Always give yourself whatever. If you give yourself 3 days and you weren't able to accomplish it on the first day, I mean the first time you tried to do that task in that 3-day period, if you weren't able to, try it again, do the same task one more time. Maybe you switch it up a little bit, of course, but essentially it's the same task, just different, maybe a different topic or something, and then you just give yourself those 3 days again, and then you do that again and again and again, and I can assure you, you're going to feel that sense of urgency, you're going to feel that focus, that concentration so deeply. It's going to be so fascinating, especially if you love what you're doing. Obviously, setting the deadline for something you love, it's going to be amazing, and at the same time it's going to push you to take action, and that's so important. So yeah, that's pretty much the end of the video. I hope you guys enjoyed that video. I hope you guys had a great time listening to this video, and I hope you now start establishing that sense of urgency in your life. Alright, so thank you very much for watching, and make sure you subscribe, make sure you hit that notification icon, and of course, there's going to be some videos here and here for you guys to check out more of my content. Make sure you hit that like button, like I said at the beginning of the video, and I'll see you guys in the next video.